Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at Ho'omaluhia Botanical Gardens, ready to meet the people who inform, inspire, and impact our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. This tree I think it's beautiful myself. It looks like it's kind of old.
Well, it's probably several decades old. It's sometimes considered unusual. You notice there are very few leaves up here. So even tropical trees lose leaves in season, and trees do come in families. This is an African earthrhina. And by chance, we have a native Hawaiian earthrhina, and it's known as the Willy Willy tree.
Huh.
And if you start researching about the Willy Willy tree, which is a dryland tree, you'll find it has very lightweight wood, and it was used for surfboards in the traditional Hawaiian surfing days.
And so here we are in the middle of the Pacific with the same tree family as Africa in the Southern Hemisphere. That's amazing.
Yes, well, they have a similar climate and similar habitat, so the trees do well. And these have unusual flowers, and they come out in seasons. So even tropical trees have seasons.
And I love this idea that other plants grow on and with the tree. And
Yes,
they can
a
survive.
lot of
It's truly a
times.
family
Yes, it is.
in many ways. Beautiful, just so beautiful. Thank you for joining me in meeting Jeff Nash, who is the Executive Director for Habilitat Hawaii. So good of you to take time, and this is your neighborhood, actually.
This is, and thank you for asking me to come meet with you today.
You know, Habilitat, many of us grew up with knowing the good work that Habilitat does, but I'm not sure that everyone knows anymore.
Yeah, well, Vinny Marino founded the program back in 1971, and he left us when he passed away in 2000, but the reality is the program has continued to do good work here in Hawaii, helping people, sometimes the people that need the help the most, people in jail, people on drugs and alcohol, and we've continued to do the exact same thing for 47 years now.
So maybe you can explain a little bit how it works, because I know there's a residential property that you have.
Sure. So we are a licensed residential special treatment center. Our approach to treating the problem, though, is not a one-pronged approach. What we're trying to do is focus on all the different services that are needed to take someone from a life on the street or incarcerated and bring them to a place where they can reintegrate into society with a living wage, the skills necessary to be an asset to the community. So how do we do that? Well, we bring them in and to a multi-staged program that starts with intensive treatment, usually for about 6 months long, residential treatment. And as they develop and master the skills necessary to move to the next phase, they would move into what we call reentry. And that's where we start to build job skills, vocational skills. We do a whole lot of different things to do that. We have a construction company that does vocational training. We are the largest supplier of Christmas trees in Hawaii.
I know that.
We do a big fundraiser at Kualoa every year to raise funds for the organization. And we're unique in the sense that we don't have any contracts with the state or federal government. We teach people self-reliance and independence, and therefore we practice it as an organization.
So it's a residence facility.
It is,
And how many people can
well,
see?
we're licensed for 150, but we keep it, right now we have like 115, 116 full-time residents at various stages of the program. And our facility is located right on Kaneohe Bay in the neighborhood of Waikoloa. And we've been there since the 70s, basically. It's in an old estate, the Bigelow estate, Marianne Bigelow, Marianne and Lyman Bigelow were prominent Kaneohe residents way back in the 30s.
Yeah.
So Vinny, our founder, kind of took over the property and we began to build what's there today, which is a really nice licensed treatment center.
So how does one get chosen to be part of this? Because, you know, it's a very special place.
Yeah, good question. A lot of our people come through the court system, so they're facing incarceration, and in some cases the judges will use Habilitat's kind of known as being a tough program. We work hard, learn hard, play hard. A lot of our referrals here in Hawaii come through the court system. So a probation officer or a judge will say, you know, somebody keeps failing on probation, hope probation, drug court, things like that. Oftentimes the judges will give them one last opportunity to come to Habilitat. We do get referrals from other organizations.
Because there's support and counseling, and you really monitor.
Highly supervised, highly structured program regimen. And we do network with a lot of other local nonprofit agencies. We do a lot of work with Parents Inc., and they come in and they teach parenting classes, which is an important thing. The Hawaii Literacy Foundation comes and helps people that struggle with reading. The Department of Education sends teachers to help people get their GEDs. Now we actually have computer classes that people can access. So,
well, and with so much challenge, I guess, that every individual faces differently, what's joy for you?
What's a joy?
Yeah.
Joy for me is when we take somebody who society has almost given up on, and they come to us and they put in the hard work, they make the commitment, and they go through the stages of change, and they come out as a productive member of our society who's taking care of their children, being honorable to their spouse, and they contribute to our island community.
And make a choice to be part of the community.
They're making a choice to rejoin our
Yeah,
community.
that's awesome.
That is why we do what we do.
And just judging from your energy, how it raised a moment ago, I can tell that there are a lot of success stories that you have had.
There are, yeah. We're very proud of the work that we do. We've been doing it for a very long time, and we literally sometimes are able to turn around some of Hawaii's toughest cases, people that have lost hope, and we are able to reunite them with our community. And it's a very rewarding thing. Something rewarding on a level that it goes beyond compensation of money and things like that.
Definitely.
It's really community building.
Well, and it's one soul at a time.
Certainly.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and sharing your enthusiasm that helping people is not only possible, it happens.
And it's necessary.
And it's necessary, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've had a conversation with Jeff Nash, who is the Executive Director for Habilitat Hawaii. Appreciate you being with us. Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus and joining me in meeting Jayna Uyehara, who is the Business Action Center Manager with DCCA. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us today in this beautiful setting away from Honolulu.
Thank you for having me.
But what you do is in Honolulu.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your job and the center.
Well, the Business Action Center is a program of the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs for the state of Hawaii. And we're actually a part of the Business Registration Division. We have offices on 3 different islands. So Oʻahu is our main office, but we also have an office in Maui and one in Hawaii County, which is a part-time office. And basically what we do is we provide personal assistance for people who want to start businesses in Hawaii.
So when we say personal assistance, you know, there's the logistics of starting a business. There's also, you know, emotional support. What facet in particular do you focus on?
I think we focus more on education. So when someone walks into our center, we're known as kind of like a one-stop shop for the state of Hawaii's business registration and tax licensing. So not only do we help people do the business registration forms, which means if you wanted to start a business entity like an LLC, corporation, or partnership, we would actually help them walk through the form. And what that does is it minimizes the chances that that filing is going to be rejected by the reviewing agency. So we want to kind of help facilitate that transaction. The other thing that we do is maybe trade names or trademarks. if you wanted to register something like that. And all of these terms I'm throwing at you, but and a lot of people don't know the differences. So we're there to help educate people on what the differences are and how to fill out the forms.
I think it could be very overwhelming, you know. I mean, if I wanted to have a lunch wagon, you know, with all of the lunch wagons that are existing, but I have food that I want to offer, you know. I would go to see you first, but where would you start, you know?
Right, so what we do is we provide the basic registration. So as I mentioned before, business registration, but you know, everybody needs a general excise tax license in order to do business in Hawaii.
So step by step, you walk
Right.
people through it.
Correct.
And when they come to visit you, do they have to sign up right away, or?
No, we're a state agency, so we don't charge anything for our services other than the filing fees that the accepting agencies will charge for that particular filing. You know, we encourage people to come in and just ask questions and see what kind of advice and services and help that we can give them. Some people will come in and just say, you know, I wanted to inquire, what does the LLC form look like? Or what does the general excise tax application look like? And we'll show them and explain things to them. The great thing about our office is that we also have a lot of tax information. We're not with Department of Taxation, but we have a lot of their publications as well as IRS publications in our office if people are interested in picking those types of publications up for you know, their easy reading at night. But you know, we try to direct them to the right publication as well.
And you also work in partnership with other organizations in the community, because small business is the mainstay of society.
Right, we understand that what we do is just the very basic registrations and tax licensing. So what we've tried to do is kind of make our center a hub for other types of services that our customers can access. So one of our great partners is the Federal Small Business Administration. They send a representative to our office almost every Monday. And if you schedule an appointment, you can sit down with an SBA counselor for as much time as you need, and you can ask them about all of their financing programs that the federal government has to offer. Or maybe you're interested in finding out about how to become a federal government contractor, because those contracts can be quite lucrative. So there's that. And another partner that we have is the Hawaii State Bar Association. Their business law section has gotten together a group of volunteers, about 7 of them, and they rotate at our office every Thursday. And you can sit down with a very experienced lawyer, business lawyer, and ask them whatever questions that you would like for half an hour. It's such a great service, and I think we were the first organization to have such a program in the nation.
So as we wrap up our meet and greet today, a quick thought on one of the great successes that someone came in and wanted help and that you've had since you've been there.
You know, I have a great staff. They are so professional and knowledgeable, friendly and helpful, and very compassionate. And so I will often get a lot of feedback from our customers on what a good experience they had. And it might be just something as simple as, you know, you really helped me, walk me through this process. It was painless. I didn't think it was going to be, you know, take so short of a time.
No mystery.
Right, and you demystified things for me. And that's really what we're wanting to do, is really educate our customers to bring them to a level of proficiency where they can run their business instead of worrying about paperwork.
Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing that enthusiasm. We've been chatting with Jayna Uyehara, who is the manager at the Business Action Center with DCCA. Aloha. This is a very unusual plant.
Yes, it is an unusual tree, and people really are constantly asking us, what are those unusual bumpy fruits? They look kind of like bumpy cantaloupes. This is the African gardenia, Gardenia vacantii, and interestingly enough, it is a very important plant for the animals in Africa where it grows. So antelopes and monkeys and elephants eat the fruits of these plants.
Huh.
When we cut it open and look at
Careful
it,
here.
it's kind of woody to us, so people don't eat it, but the plant does have importance for people. It's used for medicinal use, particularly for internal health problems.
Huh. And so this is a young one here that we see, right?
Yeah, this is a young fruit.
Huh. Beautiful.
And today we're missing the flowers, but the flowers start out white, and as the day ages, they turn a golden yellow color. And like most gardenias, they'll drop in one day.
So what you're actually explaining here is that plants, like the Hawaiians believe too, right, have medicinal purposes, and you show us here in the park.
Yes,
what
and
these
plants are important to animals in their habitat also.
I'm here with Gordon Ito, who is an insurance commissioner. Thank you for joining us today. And I appreciate your time as well.
Oh, my pleasure, Lyla.
So insurance has kind of a mysterious word to it.
Yes, I mean, it is very mysterious and often misunderstood. You know, we at the division, one of our, I think, main core functions is education. The way our division is organized, we have a broad range of responsibilities. We regulate the insurance industry in Hawaii and provide oversight. The industry in Hawaii is about $18 billion a year in premiums. So we have a huge scope of responsibility, which includes financial regulatory oversight to make sure insurance companies have the assets to pay claims. We also do rate and policy review. We have certain authorities in terms of rate approvals.
So you take care of the bigger picture.
Yes.
And
yeah,
make sure that insurance companies are doing what's legal and what's correct for the public.
Yes, I mean, and so that's another function that we do. We have a compliance and enforcement branch that if consumers have complaints against agents or companies, they're always welcome to come to our office and file a complaint, or if they have questions about insurance itself.
Now this is presuming that a company knows they need insurance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the business side, again, insurance covers not only for consumers but also businesses. So the range of insurance that we oversee includes health insurance. Businesses have to provide health insurance for their employees under the Hawaii Prepaid Healthcare Act. We have motor vehicle homeowners, business commercial liability. So there's a whole range of types of insurance.
There's a huge range. We're talking about you being the umbrella. Are there education services as well?
Yeah, so one of our core functions, again, is really to educate businesses and consumers in terms of what insurance, the importance of insurance. Insurance is there to prevent a person or a business from sustaining catastrophic, really, or significant financial loss if they didn't have insurance to cover any losses they incur. So that's one of our core messages is people should look at insurance or businesses to be covered and make sure that they have protection against losses.
I'm sure that's a challenge sometimes to have people and businesses understand that.
There's often misconceptions about what insurance covers or doesn't cover.
Right.
So, for example, we created My Insurance Doesn't Cover What, and this brochure, and trying to decode another brochure called Decoding Insurance. But for example, a common misconception is I have homeowners insurance, but my home gets flooded. And you need
we know that
you need flood insurance from the
right.
NFIP to cover flood loss, right? And so, that's part of the challenge of trying to educate people that you need certain types of insurance, and certain types of insurance doesn't cover what you think it covers.
So with all those challenges, and I'm sure there are a lot of problems and issues that people come to you for guidance, what's a success that you had recently?
So in terms of success, I mean, typically we get between 400 to 500 complaints from consumers on what we call property and casualty and life companies. And like last year, for example, we had about 500 complaints, and we've helped consumers recover through our intervention about $600,000. Similarly, on the health side, we help consumers if they have complaints against health insurers like HMSA, Kaiser, UHA, or HMA, which we have oversight also. On the educational side, we I think are making hopefully some headway in terms of educating people, like what I said on the flood side, as well as on motor vehicle. A common misconception on motor vehicle is that if I have full coverage, but if you don't buy, for example, comprehensive and your car gets flooded, you don't have coverage. So it's just the educational process that we continually strive to educate consumers.
Well, and you must have a very competent staff as well that is part of your team.
Yeah, we have an excellent group of people or staff within our division. We have 8 branches that handle a whole breadth of responsibility, but I can't commend my staff more than anything. I mean, they day in, day out, do an excellent job.
So as we wrap up our conversation at the moment, parting thoughts.
We encourage consumers, we have our website that they can come in as a insurance resource. They're always welcome to call our office because we're there to serve the public, to answer any questions they have about insurance, or in case where they might have a complaint, or they're also welcome to call our office.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've been chatting with Gordon Ito, Insurance Commissioner with DCCA. Appreciate you being with us. I'm here at Ho'omaluhia Botanical Gardens with Stacy Aldrich, who is our state librarian. Glad you could be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to see you whenever I do, because I think of my youth growing up in libraries. Do you still have that same excitement when you see children coming in?
Oh, it's amazing. Kids get so excited when they get their first library card. It means that
You still need one?
You still need a library card. They get their first library card and they can check out their first books and take them home and dive into them and read to their families and have their families read to them. It's very exciting.
With all the technology, and I know the library is changing to be technologically relevant, books are still really important.
Very much so. Very much so. We still circulate almost 6 million items a year, and that's mostly physical items. So I think we're navigating physical and virtual, and many people who have Kindles or ebooks, it's really easy to get them, but then they start to see the bills that rack up for how many books they're buying, and then you don't really have anything to show people. There's not like a bookshelf that you can show what you've read. So a lot of people are coming to the library and rediscovering all the services we have, including ebooks, so that you can download and read without having to pay, and there are no fines or fees because you stop being able to use it. There's no late charges on
But you still need a library card.
You still need a library card, yes.
And so how would one do it nowadays?
Well, currently you just go to any library and with your ID and something that proves your address, and you can get a library card very easily. And from that moment on, you have access to all of our resources. And if you find resources in other libraries across the state, so we have 51 branches. Say you're in Aina and you want something that is on Big Island that doesn't exist on Oʻahu, you can have it delivered to you at Aina. So we share our whole collection.
Or if I'm on the Big Island, I can check it out too?
Exactly, and bring it home and then just return it at Aina and it'll get back to the Big Island.
Wow. And I know the relationship with the schools has changed too, or has evolved.
Yes, the schools are amazing, and libraries are a part of that educational ecosystem. So we're there working with the schools to support students when they're doing research and homework, getting kids ready to read with story times. So we're definitely supportive of all the education that's going on in our state.
And at the beginning of the school year, you're particularly involved.
Absolutely. Mostly around the fact that we have all these resources that we want to make sure that kids have access to. Not every school actually has a school library. And so public libraries are really important tools. So when they're doing research, or it's late at night and they forgot their copy of Tom Sawyer, they can download it from our, if they have access at home, they can download it to their device or to their computer, and they can still do their homework. If they're learning a language, we have Mango Languages, which reinforces language. It's 72 languages, including Hawaiian and Pirate. So if they're learning Pirate in school, it's good to have Mango
Pirate
languages.
language?
Pirate, yes. Pirate is actually a very complex language. Who knew? And then we also have resources like Press Reader, which is 6,000 newspapers and journals from around the world.
Wow.
And so if a student was studying a particular political thing that was going on, you could see the perspective from around the world. So you could see what the Mirror is saying in London and what Le Monde is saying in France. And the French papers, if you're learning French, you can actually translate them into English. So you can test your language skills. So
What a transformation our libraries have taken.
absolutely.
And with all of those new ideas that are now instituted, there's some challenges too.
There are always challenges. I think people's perception about libraries, mental models of it being a quiet place where it's just books.
It's not quiet anymore.
It's not quiet anymore. We have all kinds of programs going on. In Kahuku, we have a makerspace with sewing machines, and we
Wow.
have robotics kits. And in Kapa'a, we also have a makerspace every day. We work with a local banker group several times a week, and they have 3D printing machines. So you can go to Kapa'a and learn how to do 3D printing. So we have lots going on. There's story times. There are also quiet places for people to study as well. But our libraries are really about community, places where people can go, find access to whatever they need to help them be successful, and also be with one another in story times and programs where you can learn anything from Tai Chi to learning how to do manga comics or seeing magicians, or even programs around STEM, getting kids excited about science and technology.
So libraries don't have to be overwhelming anymore. Actually, it sounds like a place where you can play and learn and be creative.
Absolutely, and we want everybody to come back and rediscover their library.
And so multi-generations are there as well. I'm sure you see
Yes.
grandmothers and children and
Grandparents bringing in their grandchildren for story times or just coming in to read. I've seen parents with their kids sitting on the tiny little kid furniture reading together.
Sweet, sweet. Thank you. Well, you know, it's always wonderful to chat with you and to hear the new developments at the library, because it is a place that we need to value.
Thank you.
You've just had an opportunity to meet Stacy Aldrich, who is the state librarian. Appreciate you being with us. Mahalo to Ho'omaluhia Botanical Gardens for hosting us today, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.